why don't we just use, why don't we just record with me back here like this? This is great. Hey guys, welcome to the channel.
Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about our wedding at Universal Studios in Orlando. We're going to talk about how things went. We got married this past March, Friday the 13th. We got married at the Hard Rock at Universal. So we're just going to kind of talk about how that went and just kind of their procedures and how things go. Just kind of give you a rundown if you're considering getting married there.
Yeah, I guess when we started looking around at venues, we didn't necessarily have it in mind, I don't guess. And then we would just start discussing it one day and as a potential, and there just wasn't. I mean, there was information out there, but there wasn't great information. Like, you didn't really have an idea.
Not a lot of testimonials.
Yeah, and didn't really have an idea of how things would go. You just didn't really know what to expect.
Right. So we just kind of wanted to run through our experience and how things went to, try to help people like you that are maybe considering getting married there or, want to know how it works. And then at the end, we're going to talk about some of our tips that we kind of gathered for, getting married at Universal or just destination weddings in general.
Yeah, traveling with equipment.
Yeah, or getting your dress there.
Yeah, getting my dress there as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we got married on Friday, March 13th, right before all of this stuff happened. And so the reason that...
I was just going to say, because they ended up closing.
Well, yeah, they
their last day of operations was the 15th, so it was a little bit sketchy.
It was sketchy. We did it, though. We got married, barely.
We were afraid of it.
But I got a lot of questions about why we got married, why we chose a weekday. And the reason was because of the package that we chose with the hotels. So there are 4 hotels that you can get married at Universal, and it's kind of their premier ones. So Portofino Bay, the Hard Rock, obviously, Sapphire Falls, and Lowe's Royal Pacific. And so at all of those hotels, they have different sized packages where, depending on how many guests you want to have. We had a really small wedding
and it ended up being a lot smaller than we anticipated.
Yeah, it did. But we knew that we were going to keep it to a fairly small amount of people because we pretty much knew it was going to be immediate family only, just to try not to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, it's just easier not to.
Right.
I mean, and with us being from, Middle Tennessee, it's a little bit difficult to ask people to travel so far and book it in advance because you had to have the rooms done in advance.
Right. So we ended up cutting our list down pretty short. But at the same time, if you have a wedding under a certain amount of people, they consider it like an intimate wedding versus their standard wedding. And they will only let you rent their areas, their locations that you can have a wedding for a weekday. And Hard Rock specifically, it had to be before 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We had to be done before 1 because the lounge that our reception was in, they use as a bar in the afternoon.
I'll be honest, having it early in the morning, I thought when we initially set it up, I was a little bit, I don't know, it was just kind of odd because our wedding was at 10 o'clock.
10:30.
Yeah, 10:30 or something like that. Yeah. And I was a little bit skeptical about it, but it ended up working out great because we got the wedding done, had the reception, did all that stuff. Had some drinks, met with everybody, and then we just all went to the park together.
Right, yeah, it actually turned out to be really fun. Yeah. So if you're concerned about that, I wouldn't let that deter you.
No.
I would say the only negative was that to get ready, I did have to get up at 5 in the morning, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I had to sleep in.
Yeah, well, you had less to do to get ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it went really well. My matron of honor and I got ready in my parents' hotel room. So, as far as hair and makeup and services, they just come right to your hotel room and bring all their stuff. So that's not a problem. It's actually really easy.
And I, of course, I guess my side of it wasn't as involved as, of course, your side, but we just stayed in the room that you and I were actually staying in. That's where, and they brought mine and my best man's boutonnieres.
Right, yeah,
flowers. In there and helped us get those on and set us up.
Yes, the flowers were delivered, so that was really, really nice. So when you sign the contract to have your wedding with one of the hotels, they hire an event coordinator for you. That's part of like your package deal that you get, which is so amazing.
Yeah, and she was fantastic.
Yes,
I mean,
it's so good.
Yeah, you must. It's another one of those things that you're a little, I guess, concerned about going into it. But no, I don't think we could have handpicked anybody any better.
No, that was absolutely amazing. So the company that the hotels hire out to do their event planning is absolutely amazing. They took care of everything. The planning process was probably the least stressful thing ever. I would send our coordinator an email and be like, "Hey, I need flowers," and she would be like, "Okay, send me pictures," and I'd send her pictures, and she'd be like, "Okay, this is the price. Like, pay for it, and it's done."
Yeah, she'd give you like a list of 4 or 5 places that could do it, and different types.
Flowers, I just had one, but like hair and makeup, she would be like, "Here's these 3 people we recommend. Tell me which one you like," and I'd be like, "Oh, I like this one," and she'd say, "Okay, it's this much money. Click this link and pay for it," and you got it.
Plus, also, I mean, making sure the makeup part of it. I know you wanted a trial, so we actually got to go down like an extra. It was an excuse to take an extra trip to have a makeup trial done.
Well, and we took a trip just to visit the locations because we looked at the Hard Rock,
Royal Pacific,
and Sapphire Falls. Right, we looked at those 3. Portofino is a little bit pricier for weddings, so we didn't.
And they didn't have. It didn't seem like they had as many of the intimate settings. I think that was the main contributor to why we ended up going with
looking at the other 3
because they didn't have as many. We knew we weren't going to have that many people there.
Right. It just didn't really make sense for us to do it at Portofino. But I've heard, I haven't been, but I've heard Portofino is gorgeous. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, I've heard it. It's a great place.
I don't think that we looked anywhere that we didn't
like.
We didn't like. I think it was a kind of a tough decision, but I think at the end of the day, when we sort of saw the place that we ended up going with, which was at Hard Rock, it just sort of made sense.
Right.
For us, for our personalities. And
so the way that it works, Sapphire Falls and Royal Pacific, they share a catering coordinator or manager, and that's that is your liaison to the hotel for weddings.
Yes.
And so there was one lady that we met with to look at both of those hotels, and then there was a separate one for the Hard Rock. Yeah. And so the 2 different coordinators kind of ran things differently, and so that was kind of another deciding factor, is that we liked Hard Rock's kind of procedures and stuff a little bit better.
Yeah, just for us with how...
totally personal.
We're very... I guess we're non-traditional when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And that's kind of Hard Rock.
It just sort of seemed a little bit more... our style.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then, so when you book your package, you also get, there's like a food and beverage minimum.
Yeah.
So even with the smaller size wedding, there's still like a set amount that you have to spend on food and beverage. And so we originally were just going to have like cheese tray and like it comes with an open bar.
When we thought we were going to have
modified bar.
Yeah, it's a modified bar. But it still is an open bar. There was plenty of drink options.
Yeah, the options were great.
You shouldn't worry about that.
No. So the bar was really, really great. The servers were amazing.
Yeah, the servers were great.
But so we originally were, like I said, we had kind of changed our menu, and we're just going to have like cheese and fruit and crackers and nuts.
Just little like appetizer type things.
Right. Because we only had like an hour reception.
Hour and a half, I think.
And it was going to be real small. So that was, and cake, of course. That was our original plan. But then we started having some people drop out when the, coronavirus stuff started hitting. Yeah. And so by the end of it, we actually ended up getting more food for the same amount of money because we had fewer people.
Yeah, and not just more food, it was
amazing
food. And we got to sort of upgrade from like little, I guess hors d'oeuvre type things to full-fledged like sit down meal.
Well, so we did get the nacho station. Yeah, the nacho station, and then we got our choice of a couple past hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. We did like coconut shrimp,
lobster cheesecake bites. Which was everybody's favorite.
Lobster mac and cheese.
What did I say? Cheesecake.
That'd be weird.
Those are also delicious. No, lobster mac and cheese bites, which I think was everybody's sort of favorite.
Yeah, but so the food was absolutely amazing. I know when you don't get to like sit down and have a tasting with a caterer, it's kind of concerning because we asked when we went to look at all the locations and they don't do that. So you don't get a cake tasting and you don't get to taste any of the food.
And once again, that's sort of one of the reasons we wanted to do the video, because I guess you might be concerned that, and once again, it's just going to be our opinion on it, but I don't think we had anybody complain about any of the food or any of the cake was incredible.
God. The cake was so good. We still have some frozen in our freezer.
That's been 3 months ago.
The cake was huge. We literally took a giant box of cake onto an airplane to get it home,
which was different.
That was fun. But the food is amazing. The cake was amazing. The staff was great. Yeah.
Everything just sort of, it made it completely stress-free. The only thing we had to sort of do for ourselves, which I completely understand, was they gave us a place where we could pick who, like the minister, the officiant.
Right. They gave us some recommendations.
For the officiant. I couldn't. That word was escaping me for a minute. Okay. But no, they gave us like a list of people from the officiant, and you can sort of look at their profile. A lot of them have like videos associated with them, so you can sort of see their personality, if it lines up with you, if it's the way that you want your services done.
Right. That was one thing I was really, really concerned about. Initially, we had considered asking a friend of ours to go down and be the minister for our wedding. But we ended up not asking him to go. So we had
I'm sure he was relieved.
Yeah, probably. We just didn't feel right necessarily about asking. We felt like it would have put him in a corner where
he almost had to go. I mean, we were completely willing to cover his expenses and things like that, but we didn't want to. Hey, we really
we didn't want to twist somebody's arm into going, so we ended up just finding an officiant in Orlando. I was terrified that it was just going to be terrible in all of this, but it really wasn't too bad. So we picked an officiant. I think it's one of the like main companies that works in Orlando. He was very professional. He did a great job.
He might have called you Anne.
He did.
A couple of times. He might have.
I would highly suggest going over names with your officiant if you've never met them before. Tyler met him like a little bit, like 10 minutes before the ceremony. But I had literally never seen this man in person before when he officiated our wedding. And for the first few minutes, he called me Anne instead of Anna.
So I got married to Anne and Anna on that day.
I did correct him after a second, but it was fine. It was okay. That's an easy mistake.
It's something that we'll remember. It wasn't that big of a deal.
No, it was kind of funny. But yeah, he did a really great job. I didn't even, we didn't even talk on the phone or anything before. He just asked some questions over the email and asked, how religious we wanted the ceremony.
Just all the questions that they pretty much have to ask.
Right. Whether we were going to write our own vows.
Yeah, whether he wanted, and what kind of vows, if we weren't going to write our own vows that we wanted. Things like that. Right.
So he kind of asked those kind of questions and then was just able to craft the ceremony from there. So I think one of our favorite things about our wedding down there was the photography.
Yeah. Regina was fantastic. Mm-hmm. Our pictures turned out incredible. Yeah. And that's something else. And we got told that by a few couples. You worry about a lot of things when it comes to a wedding. And a lot of the things you just probably shouldn't worry about. A lot of times stuff's just going to happen or it's not. photos are probably the single most important thing that exists, because it's the one thing that you bring home and you just, like, we were looking forward to the photos, because it took a week or two for us to get our photos, which was faster than we thought it would be. But the photos are just...
she did an amazing job. So our photographer was her name's Regina Hyman, and so we'll put a link to her website as well as her Instagram in the description.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and probably just
put it on the screen.
On the screen right here. It's like Regina Hyman Photo .com or something.
Right. So she works in the Orlando area and around there. So if you're considering getting married down there, I would highly suggest giving her a call. She was amazing. Another thing I loved about her was that it's kind of awkward getting your pictures taken, and she was like, okay, put your left arm here, tilt your bouquet like this, do this, look here, nope, a little bit more to the left. So she really helped you with like exactly what you need to do to get a good picture. Like she knows, she's worked a lot of weddings, you can tell. So one thing that a lot of people kind of assume when they're thinking about a universal wedding or destination wedding in general is that it's going to be like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, I got asked that a lot. Like people just, oh wow, and it's not a wow.
So when we started looking at our wedding, we both come from, so Tyler comes from a huge family, and my mom is friends with literally everybody in town. So when we started looking at, how many people we were going to have to invite, I mean, if we had a big traditional wedding at home, it was going to be probably 400 people.
Yeah, we had like a tentative list, it wasn't, didn't include everybody. It's just like names that we could come up with on the spot.
Yeah.
And it got up over 300
really
just with those people. So we knew we were probably in trouble.
Right. Well, and that's just not really our personality to have a big, huge blowout thing in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That you've seen like 3 times in your life.
Yeah.
So we started looking at other options, which is kind of what led us to Universal. And we're not going to talk specifically about prices because everything changes and it's relative to what you pick.
Yeah, and there's so many different options. But what I guess what we really wanted to touch base on was the fact that it's comparable. Even the bigger event, like the bigger wedding or whatever, it's really comparable to anything that we looked at.
Right. Yeah. So with the universal weddings, they're really not outrageously priced.
Weddings are just expensive.
Weddings are expensive, but their prices were comparable to what we were seeing here in town.
Yeah.
We looked a little bit in Nashville as well, and it was going to be, the prices were going to be the same or more there. So that was kind of what led us to Universal, and then.
And Harry Potter World.
Right, Harry Potter World. Turns out they won't let you get married in the middle of Harry Potter World.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I'm sure it's possible for people who aren't us.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. They repeatedly ignored my emails.
Yeah.
But you can, some people do just like take an officiant like into the park with like just them two and have them officiate. They're totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So we ended up, like I said, doing one of the intimate weddings.
Which is 49 or less or whatever, right? Well, so or is it 59?
With Portofino, Sapphire Falls, and Royal Pacific, it's max 50.
Okay.
And then Hard Rock has actually changed since we booked our wedding. Their website, I checked today, and it says that their intimate weddings are a max of 25.
And ours was, I think, 49 or something like that.
Right. So they have changed their number for intimate weddings for whatever reason. But regardless, we ended up having like 9 people.
I wonder if that's just like a temporary thing due to
maybe, I'm not sure. And they were really great to work with us, so you could definitely call and talk to somebody and just kind of see what the deal is. But the intimate wedding, the big difference is that they don't, your food and beverage minimum is a lot lower, and so that really brought the price of the wedding down a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up, the way things ended up happening, we ended up paying, what looked like a higher amount per person, but I think that, like we talked about earlier, the food quality changed.
Right. Well, so basically what they told us was that you have to meet the food minimum, and since, you're going to pay this price no matter what, and so since you've got so many fewer people coming, why don't you pick some more food to have? So we did, and it worked out better.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing that we didn't mention, they do schedule, you can schedule a rehearsal for the day before.
Yeah.
And so, with as few people as we had, it was, just
a very
quick walkthrough.
Yeah.
But, if you're having a larger wedding, they will set up and schedule an entire rehearsal dinner for you as well.
Yeah, it's sort of like whatever you need, we'll do it.
Right. And then you can, I think you can make reservations at like a hotel at City Walk or at the resort.
Not a hotel, a restaurant.
Yes, I'm at restaurant.
Yeah.
A restaurant. Absolutely.
Yeah. And a question that we also got quite a bit was about music.
Yeah.
And it was the way that they have you do your music is you sort of set up like a playlist on your phone.
Oh, well, so there's two different options. You can hire
live DJ,
music.
Yeah, whatever.
Absolutely.
But the option that we went with, and the option that I found really easy, is that the event coordinators that were there for the day of, we just had a playlist on our phone.
Yeah.
And pretty much during the walkthrough went through, when this person's coming, we want this song. When this person's coming out, we want this song, things like that. And it worked out perfectly.
Right. Yeah. So I just bought songs on iTunes. There's just a few of them that I bought. And so, I just gave my phone to the event coordinator. And so they hooked it up to the speakers and just played the songs at the given time. Yeah. Another thing we haven't touched on is the hotel block. So, right. So we got married at Hard Rock. So they set up like a hotel block for us. And so basically there was a certain number of rooms that we could get reserved at a discount rate.
Yeah. And the discount was actually
a pretty good
very substantial, because when we started comparing, looking at what the price of the rooms were for the general public versus
what we were paying,
it was almost half.
So March, it was like right around spring break time, so it was kind of one of their peak times where their hotels are typically booked up and those kinds of things. So they set aside like a block of hotels.
Hotel rooms,
Right. And so basically our guest, all they had to do was call the reservations number and say, I'm making a reservation for so-and-so and so-and-so's wedding.
Yeah, the pew.
The pew wedding.
Yeah, the pew wedding,
right.
Or whatever.
So I had a couple tips that I wanted to share specifically about like traveling with a wedding dress. That was one of the things that I stressed about the most, was like, am I going to get there with all my stuff? Is something going to happen to, the dress or his tux or anything like that? So you can take your dress as a carry-on on the plane.
Yes.
Highly suggest. And so we just put it up in one of the overhead compartments, made sure not, that nobody put like their clothes on top of it.
We actually let your mom use it as her carry-on, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, I think her carry-on or personal item, you can have both.
With
Southwest,
not a sponsor.
So we carried it onto the plane. Tyler brought his suit as well in a garment bag, and we did the same thing. Just kind of put it up there. But my big tip, so when I was getting fit for my dress, the alterations lady suggested that we have my dress steamed right before the wedding, after carrying it on the plane, because the fabric can get wrinkles. So I emailed my event coordinator and was like, hey, can we set this up? And she was like, oh yeah, it'll be $100. No. So I bought like a $15 steamer and took it with us, just packed it.
Yeah.
And then my mom steamed my dress the night before. Yeah. So instead of, paying an extra $100 to have somebody steam your dress, just bring your own steamer.
Yeah. Your own $15 steamer that you have.
Then you just get to keep it. And it was really great because I used it on Tyler's suit the night before to get his stuff all ready. That's one of my big tips. If you're traveling with a wedding dress, just bring your own steamer. Make sure everything goes smoothly. Yeah. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed this video today. We hope that, our us discussing how our wedding at Universal went. It's going to help you, make your decision or be better informed.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a little bit of insight on how easy it can make your wedding. Yeah. Even, I mean, in my opinion, mm-hmm. even if it was just, it increased the cost just a little bit more,
it would be worth it.
Like how simple, the simplicity of it just makes it worth it, because we didn't worry about anything.
And to be fair, that could just be having an event coordinator. Yeah. So that might be something you want to look into as well, regardless of where you get married.
Yeah, even if you don't get married,
get you an event coordinator.
Yeah, it made it very simple.
Yes, that was amazing. But so if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit like, and you can subscribe to see more.
Smash that like button.
Smash it.
Actually, just hit it any way that you want. You can press it. You can poke it. We don't really care.
Yeah. Like this video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So thanks for watching. Yeah.